Kane, that's Copes, and we have got a big show lined up today. The NBA meme king, Josiah Johnson, is going to join us. Over 260,000 Twitter followers, Copes. He's a big deal.
He's a famous guy because his father played in the NBA. As I was coming in, he was going out. His father's an actor as well.
He is. He has had a number of roles and five-time All-Star in his own right. Jersey up in the rafters in Milwaukee. Marcus Johnson, Josiah Johnson. That is an All-Star family. Now, Kane and Copes usually sticks to basketball, but we mixed it up a little bit on the weekend and spent the night at the Australian Open Women's Final, Copes.
You got something to say about it? Look how cool I look with my sunglasses on.
It was pitch black in Rod Laver Arena, and this man is getting around with his sunglasses on. Explain yourself.
What do you mean pitch black? It was the sun was bothering my eyes. I needed to block the sun. I needed to block the light, and I got 51%.
I know what happened. Your head got a little bit expanded because Candy Hurts, a friend of ours, saw you in the crowd and said, let's get you on the big screen and ask you a few questions. And I think after that, that's when you got a bit excited because we've seen some people outside the tennis after, group of young girls, and they said, hey, that's that big basketball player.
And his little friend. Remember them saying that? You rolled me under the bus, though. You go, yeah, go ahead, Coach, do that, do that. And she goes, no, I want you as well. And you folded like a cheap suit.
One of your cheap suits, of course, Copes.
You're a funny guy. You're a funny guy.
All right, Copes, time now to bring in a man that is much funnier than you. Josiah Johnson, he used to play for the UCLA in college, and now he is the king of Twitter. King Josiah 54. Thanks for joining us. We know it's late out your way.
I appreciate you guys having me and taking your time with me to get here. Yeah, like you said, we got these different time zones going on, but you know, I'm an old man now, so I'm not up late anymore, but appreciate y'all having me on, man. Happy to jump on.
No, I was nervous because it wouldn't have been the first time I messed up the time zones, but we'll go through everything. But let's start with the Twitter stuff. 2019, 25K Twitter followers. Now you're 260K, and it is skyrocketing as it is. You are the king of memes, as I said. How did this all happen? I know it's probably a long story, but because it is a crazy journey.
Man, just a lot of grinding. The quick synopsis of it, I was doing a TV show on Comedy Central called Legends of Chamberlain Heights. I was a creator and writer and voice actor on there, started getting into social, doing that stuff, and really learning the game. Didn't really know much then, but kind of figured it out. Show ended up getting canceled, so I was kind of left in no man's land trying to figure out my life, what I wanted to do. So just took a lot of those skills and really applied them to all the stuff that I'm doing now. And, you know, like you mentioned, I didn't even realize that I had 25 or whatever the number was back, you know, a few years ago, but just a lot of grinding, a lot of persistence, you know, just really trying to create conversations, have fun, and entertain people, man. I think that's the one thing at the end of the day. I played basketball, like you mentioned, at UCLA. So just being in the locker room with all the teammates, all the guys, we're always constantly trying to entertain each other, one-up each other. So I really just took a lot of that stuff, translated to what I'm doing now in the social media space, man. But at the end of the day, I just like to have fun, like to enjoy sports, specifically basketball, but really just talk about everything that I'm interested in, stuff that I want to talk about, and use that platform to, you know, help create conversations and see that there's a lot of like-minded people like me that love to laugh and love to be entertained. So,
speaking of that, who's the most famous basketball player to like your stuff?
LeBron James,
Wow.
Most definitely. My GOAT. I've been a LeBron fan since 2003. I was playing at UCLA. He was in high school. His high school came and played at UCLA and Pauley Pavilion in our arena. And he sat in our locker room, and he ended up sitting in a chair that belonged to me. So I always just had a ton of respect for him. You can look this up too. Sports Illustrated did an article on him his senior year high school when they played there, and there's a shot of him stretching, and you can see my chair, you know, in the foreground. So just got a ton of respect for LeBron James, what he's been able to do in the league. I'm a LeBron fan, so wherever LeBron goes, I go. So, you know, currently doing our thing with the Lakers, trying to, you know, squeeze our way into the playoffs, but he's looking amazing, about to break Kareem's record. So I'm super, super appreciative of him and his support.
So you mentioned that there are a lot of like-minded people that are trying to get into this space. And if you go on Twitter now, I'm on there all day and people are cracking jokes left, right and centre. Was there an early tweet for you that maybe took off, or you sort of thought to yourself, obviously you're a creative mind, that maybe this is something you can do for a living?
Yeah, for me, honestly, I treat it like, and I always compare it to being a DJ, right? You go to a club, a house party, whatever it may be, you got to pull some great stuff out of those crates. And every party you go to is not going to be the same. So it's going to be different crowds, different circles, people that like different things. So you got to figure out, you know, you're playing weddings. Every wedding's not the same. All right, what's the playlist that's going to make this wedding rock? And, you know, for me, the first one I think was probably like 2019. I did a Get Out meme for Antonio Brown when he went to the New England Patriots. Jordan Peele, who wrote and directed the movie, ended up seeing it, ended up quote tweeting it, thought it was great, ended up following me. We had a little brief convo. So that kind of really sparked it, because I work in the entertainment industry by trade, which a lot of people don't know, write on a bunch of TV shows, producing things like that. And I always joke that if I went to my agents and I was like, yo, give me a meeting with Jordan Peele, they'd laugh in my face. But through a tweet, I was able to develop a relationship with him. He actually followed me. And now we're communicating like that. So that's what I tell a lot of people trying to get in this space. Is you just never know the world that you're opening yourself up to and the connections and relationships you end up making. I got so many friends and so many, business acquaintances that I've met through Twitter. And even when I go around now, people recognize me from Twitter, which is not something that I would have ever imagined when I first started doing this thing. I just wanted to crack some jokes, have a good time. But now it's really transformed itself into a business. So I appreciate everything. And I think for me, just staying humble and being thankful for all these opportunities.
Now, you do a podcast with Gilbert Arenas, and you guys seem you have a great relationship. How did that eventuate?
So I got on with Gil. I think they were in their second season. And it's funny, Gil's a year older than me, but we both grew up in Los Angeles. I played high school basketball in the San Fernando Valley where I live now. He played out here. So I was very familiar with Gil. I remember his, I think, sophomore, junior year. He played against the high school I was going to, and he came in and dropped like 40 points and just put on this phenomenal show. So I was always super familiar with Gil. It turns out now we live literally like 3 blocks away from each other. So we've been neighbors, in the same neighborhood for like 5-6 years. And I would go on jogs around the neighborhood and see him all the time. And we knew each other when I was at UCLA and he was at Arizona. And we had some mutual friends kind of in high school. But I'd always just say what's up to him as I was running. And that kind of is where the relationship started. Then there was an opportunity to end up co-hosting the show. We ended up just connecting and vibing and ended up doing that. So we're doing the show No Chill with Fubo. We actually just announced today that we're launching a new show with Underdog Fantasy called Gil's Arena. We got Gil to come back to Twitter, finally convinced him. He took a several-year hiatus. I think he just got a little too turned up. But, yeah, so Gil just dropped his account today. Or yesterday for you guys. Gil just dropped his account. So, we're excited to have him back on Twitter and look forward to some tame shenanigans. But, we're excited about the new show we have coming out in February as well.
That's fantastic.
Now, Josiah, I lived in Milwaukee for a few years. I know your dad, Marcus, who's an NBA legend in his own right. And whether it's humor, ability to entertain, it absolutely runs in the family. I want to know what you were like as a player those 4 years that you were at UCLA.
I was very active on the bench. Didn't really play that much, but played with 13 guys, I think, that went on to play in the NBA. So kind of understood my position on the totem pole, but was an energy guy, tried to, keep the mood light. When I went out there, I was pretty good at rebounding. Defense was a little suspect, probably had a few extra pounds on me that I could have stood to lose, but always just keep the team entertained and keep the team GPA high. I was, member of the honor roll a few times. I think I graduated with like a 3.6 GPA. I can't even remember. It was so long ago. I don't even think I ever went and picked up my diploma. Funny enough, but member of the team, help raise the GPA, help keep guys motivated, really turn up on the scout team, which I loved and enjoyed. Got to be different players from the colleges that we were playing. So give these guys 20 pieces in practice, pretending to be the best player on another team. But it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Obviously didn't have the success as my dad and my older brother, but now I'm trying to run the numbers up now on the stuff that I'm doing.
Good.
It's a successful program, no doubt, and your dad went there, so you've been around the UCLA environment for most of your life. They won a national title in '95, and I was listening to a show that you were on a while back, and you had a story about that championship team, and maybe you were able to snag some memorabilia from that title team?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm like, I got a few stories. I'm trying to see which one you want to hear. But, yeah, so after the game, they cut down the nets. And everybody who watches, they see the one net they cut. I don't think a lot of people realize that sometimes they cut the other net as well. So one of my brother's teammates, I was a ball boy for that 95 squad. My older brother, Chris, was on the team and won a national championship. So flew out to Seattle for the game in the Kingdom, which doesn't exist anymore, where the Seattle Mariners used to play. But after the game, one of his teammates had the other net and was basically just hoarding it. Nobody knew he had it, but he brought me over. He let me cut a little piece of it off, and I kept it in my wallet. And I was probably like 14 at this time. Sadly, ended up losing that wallet with the piece of the net, and will never forgive myself. I don't think that it's gone. Like, we got a ton of stuff in my mom's house, so I think it's somewhere there. We just got to hunt it down and find it. But definitely that wallet got lost in the shuffle. It may have got lost in the struggle with a little piece of that 95 net in it.
Now, you speak about being a Lakers fan. Now tell us honestly, what does the Lakers need to do? Who do they need to trade? Talk to me about the Lakers, because we talk about them all the time on the show.
Look, I think the Lakers, AD goes down. I think they've missed him for like 20, 21 games. Want to say they're 500 with him out. I think they were a game over 500 before they lost to the Clippers tonight where I'm at, which is Tuesday night. Yeah, so I'm excited for the team. I think getting Rui Hachimura from the Wizards for Kendrick Nunn was a great move on behalf of the Lakers front office. Obviously, Lakers fans been in their ear trying to get something done, and really applying the pressure. So to see that move made, still think they could stand to make another move or two. We'll see how it goes, but I think the main thing is AD being healthy. If AD comes back the way that this team is playing, LeBron playing at an MVP type level, especially since after turning 38, you had, I think, 46 tonight. Clippers going an 8-point run. So they take him out of the game with like 5 minutes to go, but he was well on his way to 50, if not more than that, just depending on the outcome of the game. But LeBron at age 38 is playing at a level better than he played in his early 20s. He looks phenomenal out there. Definitely deserves some love in the MVP discussion. You worry about his body now breaking down with just all that wear and tear and being 38. Father time comes for us all. But if you look at the stuff that Tom Brady was doing into his 40s in the NFL, LeBron is more than capable of doing that. And it's wild to see that, he's still averaging about 30 points a game, which, at some point, throughout all the careers of some of my favorite players, you start to see that regression, right? Where it kind of hits you fast sometimes it's a slow dip, but they go from that 28, 30-point range, then it's 25, then it's 22, then it's 15, and kind of on the way out, where LeBron still seems to be trending upwards, which is pretty just phenomenal, I think, for somebody's age, and just a testament to the work that he puts in. But I think this Lakers squad, the West, their conference is so crazy right now. I think, if you like, it's one or two losses separating like the 13th from the, top six or whatever it may be. So, you lose a game, you go from 4th or 5th of 9th, it's just wild to see how jam-packed that Western Conference is. But this squad is hanging on. They're still in the hunt. And I think if AD comes back, he's healthy, if they can make another move, definitely want to talk about playoffs. I think they can definitely win a series. And if they can make the right move, definitely I think they can move into that contender space.
Well, LeBron doesn't have too much time, and we know that. Would you be a fan of them trading him to a team that could possibly win a championship?
Look, I've been a LeBron fan since 2003. I love the move to Los Angeles. Think he's brought a championship here. You would like to see the team. He's committed to them, I think, for another year. The commitment that he's shown to this organization in righting the ship, and made a ton of great moves, made some moves I'm sure people will think are questionable. But at the end of the day, LeBron's had a great time here. I think, it's great. I live in LA. He's in LA. I want him close. So definitely don't trade him. Keep him on the Lakers. Lakers games are turned up still. They're going to turn this thing around. Mark my words. They're going to figure this thing out. But the squad is exciting to watch. I think much different from last year. Last year, you kind of held out hope, but knew every game they were end up getting smacked some way or another. They've shown just flashes of brilliance throughout the season, have like 5 or 6 tough losses that they, winnable games. You think about that Sixers game back in Philly not too long ago where they missed the free throws to win the game, with time expiring. You just see that this team, has stuff to be excited about. They got smacked by the Clippers tonight, but prior to that, played the Grizzlies great, played the Kings, ended up, getting with them, got with the Blazers after the Blazers were up 25. So it's great to see this team trending in the right direction. I think, they're going to do something special. They're going to figure it out. AD going to come back healthy. I believe it. I'm praying for it. Basketball gods have kind of been doing us dirty lately. They got to figure it out. We need a couple back.
Josiah, you're overwhelmingly positive with all the stuff you do on social media. Last question I've got for you. Has there ever been a time where you've had a player or athlete reach out and perhaps not happy with some sort of joke or didn't quite take it the way that you hoped?
Yeah, man. Definitely. I got guys like KD that follow me, Steph Curry, guys that are on teams that I'm not fans of. So, you're going to say some things. So sometimes those guys will clap back at you publicly. Sometimes they'll slide into the DMs and let you know what it is. But I got a tremendous amount of respect for all those guys. And I think it's really helped shape me and how I move on social. Obviously, just being super respectful of them and understand, especially, just in the wake of the mental health and how big of an issue it's become and how many players have been outspoken about it. I think we need to realize that they're human beings first and foremost, no matter how much money you make, how good you are at a sport, any of that type of stuff. Like, they're human beings. So have respect for them, come at them correctly. I try to be, if a guy's playing bad, I'll keep it more team centric. Never like to go at a guy specifically unless there's just a situation where you can't avoid it, like what was going on with the Cowboys and their kicker. But even then, like, don't like them calling them out by name, or generally just refer to position, because I don't want those guys to get the heat. But I am reactionary. I talk about pop culture and current events. So whatever is buzzing and people are talking about is conversations I'll get into. But I have the utmost respect for all these athletes. Obviously, wish them all the best, want them to stay healthy, want them to perform at the highest level, get the biggest bags that they can get. So now, but to answer your question, yeah, I've had a few guys, I won't get into specific names, but definitely guys that have not taken too kindly to some of the commentary and things that I'm saying. Let me know about it. The thing is, I'm 6'8", so, if the situation does arise and we got to throw hands, whatever it may be, I'm fully prepared to cook. May take an L, very well may take an L, but it's going to be a tough L.
There you go, bro.
Well, we love your work, and we absolutely appreciate your time joining us tonight. As we know, it is late over there. You make me laugh all day long as I'm scrolling through NBA Twitter, so I appreciate you, Josiah. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. Again, apologize for being late. Try to always be on time and punctual, but we were dealing with a major time difference. I know it's morning time for you guys out there. It's about time for me to shut it down out here, but appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, man.
Well, Josiah is talking about throwing hands. I'm not sure if that's my wheelhouse, Copes, but speaking of Twitter beefs, we did see a Twitter beef this week between two legends of the game, Shaq and Kevin Durant as well. This all stemmed from Shaquille O'Neal potentially suggesting that he didn't know who Rui Hachimura was, who got traded to the Lakers. And as you can see here, Kevin Durant simply asked whether he watches enough basketball, and Shaq might have questioned his head. What he got going on top?
He didn't question it. He said, go to the barbershop and get that cut off your head because it looks bad. And KD just calmed down. You don't want to mess with Shaq. Shaq's too big.
So you agree with Shaq? Is that
100% I agree with Shaq. Shaq's a big man, and he knows what he's talking about. KD, go to the barbershop and get it cut off, bro. Let it go. Look, let it go.
Well, by the way, that's why you tell me that I wear a hat on this show as well. I'm denying those claims. What about Twitter beefs for you? Have you had any feuds on Twitter?
I had some peanut head tell me last week that I'm biased towards the Sydney. You shouldn't call the Sydney Kings games. You're biased towards the Sydney King. And you know what I said? Shut up. And that was it. Nothing else.
Any response?
Nothing.
Well handled, Copes. Next, we're going to talk about one of the great dummy spits we've seen in recent memory from LeBron against the Boston Celtics. But we're going to keep it positive.
What a crybaby. What a big baby. That's a big baby.
We want to keep it positive first, though.
No, we don't. We want to talk about this.
So let's get to some of the best highlights from LeBron this season.
Here he comes, dropping his sledgehammer. Oh, drop that Andrew.
That was Reeves who hit him in stride.
Rush to LeBron. Throw that baby down. Here comes LeBron. Going by James. Here's a breakaway again.
LeBron James, the reverse alley-oop.
Reggie Lewis on Gerald Wilkins. Patrick on Parrish. No double team. They feel Parrish can handle Ewing as Ewing goes over Parrish and hits his second in a row. 3 in a row for Patrick Ewing. There it worked. Wilkins for Patrick. Oh, that is just breathtaking. Ewing on the drive. Tucker for Patrick Ewing. From the left side, from the right side, on the turnaround. Ewing high off the glass. Beautiful spinning move, 6 for 6. Second chance by the Knicks. Ewing on the double clutch. Tough move by Patrick. Showtime for Patrick. Look at Cheeks, look at him. Looking to make it more. Ewing. Amazing tonight. Scored it twice. That's 44 points and 4 points away from his career high. Ewing. 49 points for Patrick Ewing. It's there. And now it's 51.
That is an old school big man, Copes. 15 seasons with the Knicks, 24,000 points, over 11,000 rebounds. What do you remember about old school Patty Ewing?
I remember the wars he had against the Chicago Bulls and Reggie Miller wars and Spike Lee hanging around on the sidelines. That was real basketball back in the day when 51 points meant 51 points because they played real defense.
I didn't think we were going to get through one episode of Kane and Copes without hearing one back in our day, but we've got to hear from Copes' second segment. But you just reminded me, I want to talk about this book Blood in the Garden, the flagrant history of the 1990 New York Knicks. This is an excellent read. A great man, Chris Herring. I've podcasted with him a few times. He is an awesome man. And this was great for me to learn about these teams. And I know I do make a bit of fun about you saying back in our day, but when you talk about tough teams playing hard-nosed defense, these Knicks teams sounded scary.
They were extremely scary. You know, look, fights everywhere. We don't condone fights, but they were throwing elbows and knuckles, and people were going hard. And that's what I mean about playing hard back in our day. Michael Jordan had to get his points, but when he drove to the basket, someone was knocking him down.
All right, from those tough Knicks to one of the great dummy spits that we've seen. This happened a few days ago, Copes. LeBron James. Now, this is to win the game against the Boston Celtics.
A big cry baby. LeBron, you got fouled. So what? Sit down, LeBron. Come on, dude. This is LeBron James. He's crying like a baby. LeBron, we got you. We missed the foul. Referees are humans. They're going to miss the foul. Look at him. Let's count the number of times he's gotten a foul because he's LeBron James.
Now, he didn't even get a technical foul for this.
He should have kicked him out the gym.
But if you didn't know what game that was, this is just a regular season game in January. If you didn't know that, you would think that he's just lost the NBA Finals.
And guess what? It was going in overtime, so you still got 5 more minutes, LeBron, to get the job done. Stop crying. Stop using all your emotions. Cry like a baby. And get the job done.
What do you do when you have a player that emotional, though? Because they still had to go to overtime. Now, they ended up losing the game. But what do you say as a teammate? Are you just laughing? Are you trying to calm him down? What do you do?
As a coach, you know what I do? I say, give me your jersey. You're out of here. Go to the locker room. You're done. We got somebody else better.
Well, there was an alternate method that Pat Beverly decided that he would go into bat for his teammate. And he just simply walked up to the official and said, look, here's a photographer's camera. This was a foul. What was the result of this, do you think?
They're going to give him a T. There you go. Get him a T. These guys are they're kicking themselves in the bum, man. Why would you do that? You're going to get a T. You still got a chance to win the game. The referees missed the call. No big deal.
Not smart from Pat Beverly. But what about Joel Embiid? So we've got the All-Star starters have been announced, and Embiid is having certainly an MVP caliber season. There's no doubt about that. But he had to go against Jason Tatum, Giannis as well, and also Kevin Durant. One of those 4 guys was going to miss out on a starting role, Copes, and it was Embiid. Has he been snubbed? Has he been hard done by?
He has been, because he's having, like you said, he's having a fantastic year. His team's doing very well. Kevin Durant's been hurt up and down. Maybe you leave Kevin out of the starting 5, but people want to see him. But Embiid's just going to work, isn't he? That's one of my boys.
Not only by putting points on the board, but also with his celebrations as well. He's been going to work with those, and we saw this. Now, I'm an old school wrestling fan. I get behind some WWF action, some DX, D-Generation X. What do you think about this?
I think it's beautiful. Didn't he get fined for this? I think they gave him a $25,000.
$25,000 for this celebration. That is rubbish.
That's pocket change for him. He's not worried about that. He'll do it again next week.
Well, I saw you on Saturday night, and I reckon you put $25K over the bar, Cope, so you probably have that money to throw around.
You're a funny man, Kane. Guess what? Thanks for reminding me. You owe me, too. I spent too much money on the other night.
Let's get to the break. We've got a big weekend hoops preview coming up. But first, let's check out some of the highlights from the 2022 All-Star Game.
Greatness inspires greatness. You know, we say it all the time. There's going to be a bunch of greatness in this building. So I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Man, let's go hoop.
Holla at the kid if you want it, you can get it. He the sweet. There you go, bro. Let's get the crowd going. Bank account and champ model.
Look at this. Oh, my goodness.
He might be trying to get MVP, Red.
The greatest shooter the game has ever seen. Past, present, and future.
He's putting on the show. This is what we all came here to see.
All he needs is a bucket. Game-winning shot by LeBron James. That was an unbelievable game and finish.
Suarez used his body nicely and then stuffs it. With the Sean Redditch presentation. Brady Manning. Quickly, Walton Jr. from one end to the other. Finds Cooks. 1-point game. Vasiljevic got open. And got it. Cotton. Giving us back. What time is it?
It's club time.
Some highlights of the Perth Wildcats and Sydney Kings, who both have interesting weekends coming up, and it does bring us to our weekend basketball preview. And we're going to start with the Adelaide 36ers and the Sydney Kings. Now, Copes, I've got a very, very simple question for you. Sure. The Kings are on top of the ladder. Yep. They've locked in that spot. They can't move. They've got 2 games over the weekend. Are you playing your key players in this game against Adelaide and then again on Sunday?
You probably play the guys 20 minutes on that Friday, but then on Sunday, you pull the plug. You don't want to play those guys, man, someone rolls an ankle or gets hurt. You give them a little rest, let them, rest up for the injuries, and then you get ready for the playoffs.
Perth Wildcats and Cairns Taipans. Both teams really need to win this game, but the Wildcats stumbled at home last year and missed out on the postseason. How much pressure are they feeling right now?
They are feeling a lot of pressure, but again, when you got Bryce Cotton and the way he's playing right now, and John really has those guys playing offense, they're shooting the ball. They need to work on the defense, but I think they'll get the win.
So you think they get in?
They'll get the win, yes.
All right, let's go to NBA action. The Phoenix Suns and the Boston Celtics. The Phoenix Suns have been without Devin Booker. They've kept their head above water. Are they a contender?
No, CP3 is 200 years old. It's time for him to retire. Get out. I just think Boston are playing good basketball. They're too good.
You're writing off the Phoenix Suns?
I'm writing them off, man. They're done. They're done.
This episode's done as well. Catch you next week.